Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Dance of Souls, the trust frequency embodied on the connection field, the good of the whole connection field. And I'm Connie Baxter Marlow.
I'm Andrew Cameron Bailey, and that beautiful person over there is Wowza, Alyssa Lodge.
Wowza, Alyssa
There she
Lodge.
is.
And tonight we're going to speak about our attitude. And that's one of the 7 aspects of our consciousness that creates our vibratory level and our frequency, and thereby our reality. So it's a big deal, our attitude.
And it rhymes with gratitude.
And it rhymes with
which I
gratitude.
think is somehow that's important.
Gratitude in the attitude. Do you have anything to say about gratitude in the attitude?
Wowza.
Dear Wowza. You're muted. You're muted.
I was just saying, I'm just so grateful to be part of the team that is bringing a conscious, loving universe to the world. I mean, what could be better than that?
I hear gratitude in that attitude.
Gratitude in that attitude.
Yeah, welcome, Bridget.
Bridget,
welcome, Oriana.
Hello.
We are happy to have you here. And we are addressing the aspects of consciousness that create our vibratory level and thereby our frequency, thereby our reality, because every frequency has different characteristics and different laws. And this is from our book, The Trust Frequency, 10 Assumptions for a New Paradigm, which is an indigenous cosmology, quantum science synthesis on the conscious, loving, abundant nature of the universe and humanity's place in it. So we have, so this is Wowza Alyssa Lodge. You hadn't met her, Bridget, I don't think. And we have a conversation that we'll include you in. First, we're going to do a little meditation on attitude, because attitude is one of what we call the 7 A's, the 7 aspects of our consciousness that begin with A, that determine our vibratory rate. And once we understand what actually creates our reality, we'll make different choices.
And experience a different reality.
And experience a different reality.
Wowza, you might want to mute yourself.
Yeah. And what we want to say is that we're applying this to our relationships with ourselves, with others, and with the universe, because the universe loves us and gives us everything we ask for. And these 7 aspects of consciousness are what we call our requests to this loving universe. So it's kind of a physics thing about the vibration, and it's kind of a loving thing that we're so loved that we get everything we ask for. We just don't understand what our requests are. So we have these 7 A's in one sentence, and I will show you those 7 A's, and I will speak this sentence because it's good for visual learners to see things, and I will also speak it. So I'm going to share our screen, and let's see, share screen. So you can see these 7 aspects of our consciousness. And I'll say them in one sentence, or maybe Andrew, do you want to, since they're up, and you could read them.
I could do that. Of course I could.
I know the 7
She
A's
does.
in the
She
sentence,
has them
but
down by heart, and I think I do too, but still. So here it is. This is how consciousness works. With expanded awareness and accurate assumptions, we choose our attitude, consciously direct our attention, align with our highest inner promptings, take committed action, and allow the loving universe to manifest beyond our wildest dreams.
Yeah, so that's it, folks. And we've already discussed awareness and assumptions. And tonight we're going to talk about attitude. And we have our prior recordings on YouTube, and one can go to the trustfrequency.net. No, YouTube, the trust frequency, and find the playlist of all our prior evening talks. And right now, what we'll do is go to the meditation to set the stage for this. Andrew did a bunch of meditations, not a bunch, but did meditations on this.
7 of them, in fact.
7 of them.
Because there are 7 A's. And this is the A called attitude. Here we are.
Here we are.
I called them meditations in the key of trust. Here we go.
Here we go.
A settled way of thinking or feeling about someone's
Okay, hold on. I'll start from the beginning.
That's a good idea.
attitude. Noun. A settled way of thinking or feeling about someone or something, typically one that is reflected in a person's behavior. Our attitude, the stance we adopt toward any given subject, is almost entirely determined by our assumptions about that subject. It is virtually impossible to have a positive attitude concerning someone or something we hold negative assumptions about, and vice versa. Attitude is a very significant component, aspect of our consciousness. The attitude we choose to take toward any situation, object, person, or thing. What does it mean to have an attitude? It means my orientation toward that object of my attention. And we'll be speaking deeply more about attention in a moment. Our attitudes are determined by our assumptions. Our attitudes have an enormous impact on every aspect of our daily lives, especially with regard to our relationships. So where do these attitudes come from? They come from the same place our assumptions, and our erroneous assumptions in particular, they come from the same place. And that is our early lives, our life experience. And I might have an attitude toward a particular person, for example, last week because that person insulted me or let me down in some way. And I now have an attitude about that person, which is getting in the way of my love for that person and is actually getting in my own way. So let's go inside. Let us sit comfortably, spine erect. Let's close our eyes and contemplate this phenomenon of attitude, because we all have attitudes. They are closely related to opinions, which obviously are closely related to assumptions. My opinion about something is very similar to the assumptions I make, my conclusions I've drawn about a particular aspect of life. So, attitude. What is my attitude toward life? Do I bounce out of bed in the morning, totally excited, can't wait to get on with my day, can't wait to have a shower and get my teeth brushed and get dressed and race out into the world because I'm totally excited about whatever it is I'm working on? I have a very positive attitude toward what I'm about to do. Or at the other end of that spectrum, do I have difficulty even getting out of bed? Am I afraid perhaps, of what my day is going to bring. I'm going to get on the bus or get in my car and go to work and encounter that boss who I'm afraid is going to terminate me one day soon. And the fact that I am vibrating at the frequency of fear and uncertainty actually makes it more likely that that boss is going to do what I am thinking about, namely to terminate me, to fire me. Strangely enough, because our own minds are exceedingly powerful in that regard, we actually very often create the very circumstances we fear. What we fear may well appear. What we fear may well appear. And the more we obsess about something, the more we think about it, the worse our attitude is toward what it is we're thinking about. The more powerful the creative force of our consciousness is, the more powerful the creative effect of our thoughts becomes, until we find ourselves one day walking off the job, having just been terminated, or whatever it was. That's just an example. And the opposite is just as applicable. If I bounced out of bed in the morning full of excitement, I'm going to get to work or school or wherever it is, and I am going to inspire those around me. They'll look at me and say, man, he's on fire. I want to be like that. What is it? What did it tell us? What is it you're doing that gets you so lit up? So you see, it works both ways. And the difference is a difference of attitude. So the aspect of our consciousness that manifests as our attitude, and the fact that we can actually control that attitude. I can catch myself having a negative thought about something or someone, and I'm what is known as getting an attitude about that person or that thing. I can change that. I can elevate my frequency. I can move into a higher state of trust. There's that word. And once we trust, I may not be able to trust a certain person. That's not what it's about. It's more about trusting my intuition, and it's more about trusting the big picture, the biggest picture. It's more about trusting the loving universe. If you were a religious person, you might say it's more about trusting God. It's actually the same thing. And once you do that, you've raised your vibratory level, you've raised your frequency, and you have changed your attitude from wherever it was. Let's say it was a negative attitude, and you've actually raised the frequency of your attitude, and you now have a positive attitude around something that you were feeling not so good about. So let us sit here in silence and see if there's an attitude that bubbles to the surface. See if there's something in a relationship, might be a relation, might be to do with ourselves. I might have an attitude that I'm incompetent, that I'm not very good at a certain, shall we say, computer program. And therefore I judge myself. Attitudes have a lot to do with judgment. Let us just see if something comes up, if it floats into consciousness, because these buried unconscious attitudes are very powerful while they are buried and while they're unconscious. And once we bring them into the light, they have a chance to elevate and eventually to evaporate. And when you're ready, come back into the room, come back into your body. If you've been elsewhere, open your eyes. Say hello to yourself, to this beautiful world, and I wish you well. Thank you.
Stop share. Hello, everybody. We're back. That was lovely. Anybody have any thoughts? Wowza. Bridget?
Well, I feel I have or had, I'm going to put it in the past tense, probably the biggest one on the hit parade,
Biggest
which
attitude.
is the biggest attitude on the hit parade. Oh boy, didn't get the love from daddy and didn't know I was lovable and all my eczema and rashes and cross eyes and all the rest of it. I often created situations in relationship where that very attitude came through, hook or by crook. No matter how wonderful it was in the beginning, or it slipped in. And, just, that these attitudes of belief systems can be so painful. And even with awareness to a degree, that I'm going there again. Boy, they can slip in. They can slip in and they can slip in and they can slip in. So it does take a certain amount. What really started to change, it was the larger cosmology. I'm going to put that in. The moment I could truly come into self-love from that conscious loving universe that does love me, began to do the healing. But I have to watch. Because it can slip right. And in a way, I've just learned to really accept and love that part. It's part of the drama, my drama in this movie.
Yeah.
And will she move through her unlovableness and really know how much the universe does care and what a great change that can make.
Well, that's the essence of this course. So you've just expressed it, is that coming to self-love. And so your journey has been extraordinary through your early childhood with your cross eyes and your eczema, your everything. Look at her beauty now. So she transformed her life. You had an experience, right? That just all of a sudden that wasn't your reality anymore.
That's right.
Really miraculous.
Mm.
And then your journey to self-love after that, because of carrying all that into your teenage, into your success as a model, as an actress, but carrying that self-doubt, self-hatred, moving through it. That's what I'm hearing, through your coming to understand how loved you are by this conscious loving universe, that alignment with your divinity, that you're an aspect of this conscious loving universe. We are one, we are divine, we are love. So that's that journey to wholeness wowza, that you've expressed so beautifully. And that
Mm.
is this course. Our course is the dance of souls, the relationship revolution. And so from our perspective, your soul actually asked to come in
Mhm.
for that journey, that extraordinary journey. And even your doubt that your dad loved you, that's all part of this journey to self-love that our soul asks for and takes on. Because your dad might have adored you, and you might have taken on from his stress or his this or his that, or a word or a glance or a situation. Oh, okay, I'm not okay. You know, and
Physical, emotional abuse.
well, so but yeah, well,
some of it can be pretty intense,
yeah,
for
so
some
it
of
can
us.
be,
Yeah.
for exactly. So from this perspective, your soul actually incarnated to him and actually asked for physical, emotional, and whatever else abuse
Mhm.
that you received.
Mhm.
And so can you see that at this point that it was a gift?
Absolutely.
See, that's
I'd like to even add one more thing in thankfulness that I did have two relationships that pinpointed it so much, creating that very scenario. But it was exactly, if I had a perfect relationship, it could have been completely uncovered. I wouldn't have known to the degree this wounding was there. And the fact that I kept losing touch with it allowed me to go to the drawing board and really connect with a deeper love. And that was the universe itself. So it's all good. We have the perception to see it. Right.
yeah, well, that's what our work with the trust frequency and this course is all about. You've expressed it so well, and it's a heck of a journey. The heroine's journey is a lifetime. I mean, you're in your 80s now. We're in our mid 70s. We're still on this journey between us. Those last stages of work, I call it the little whisk broom in our subconscious, because our soul wants to align with its divinity in this human form. And so it calls forth these experiences and these wounds and all that for this journey. So yeah, you've expressed it so well. Do you have any thoughts, Andrew?
As I said at the beginning, attitude rhymes with gratitude. And I honestly think that gratitude is one of the most profoundly transformative energies around our attitudes. It's very easy when somebody abuses us or annoys us or puts us down or whatever it is to react in a negative way, in a lower vibratory way. And I think it's very difficult to respond in a loving way that manifests as gratitude. So imagine if we can reach the point of spiritual maturity where if somebody actually appears in our lives and makes us feel this way or does the
just go
things that previously would have triggered us, and here we go. And to just feel sincerely, can't fake it, gratitude. Because we actually attract this to us. Why? Because for whatever reason, we need it and we don't consciously need it. So it takes that apparently outside separate person to show up in our lives and put us through something that is for our benefit, for our growth. And to summon up, the gratitude is very challenging, but it's what we need.
Yeah, we say we go from victim of circumstance and victim and from blame of others to beneficiary of circumstance and gratitude to the other for bringing us that mirror that we can't see what's back here in our subconscious. So we need this mirror to see it. And we say, okay, thank you very much. Guess I've got work to do. Any thoughts, Oriana or Bridget? Yes, no, maybe so, and I guess not. So
Look, one of you is in the ocean with the beautiful dolphins, and one of you is out by a glorious river or lake.
Yeah.
Wow.
so bringing the water,
The element of water.
the cleansing aspect of water to our relationships, to our attitude
And emotions.
and emotions.
Mhm.
So let's give that a little, let's let that water run through us and cleanse us. Whew, bring its love and bring its beauty and intelligence. Look at those guys behind Oriana. They can zap us with their brilliance and their ancient knowing, because that's what us humans are here for, to connect with all that is now in these times. I'm seeing and I'm hearing this connectivity coming forth. I mean, I've always understood it because I've spent so much time with what I call visionary native elders, indigenous peoples that experience this oneness with all of creation. And I've known about it intellectually, and I've been looking to connect to it through experience, but the trees haven't talked to me yet, and but I'm hearing that the trees and the animals, that this is happening, that this veil is really thinning. I knew it was going to, between our separation from each other and also the rest of creation and the earth. So it's so exciting to me in these times, and that's what these tools we're bringing for people with this course and with the trust frequency is tools for opening our hearts and getting out of victim and getting to that place where we know that it's all love, which is a difficult place to get to because it's huge to go into it. Where we're taking people with our work is that place beyond duality. So that's a huge leap to say, hey, it's all love. And wowza, with your abuse, with your life experience, that you can come to that and emanate from that place is just a testament to the journey.
Yay.
Yay. And a lot of people have probably over the last 12 months, we're 12 months into this COVID pandemic, and I can only imagine the hardship that so many must have endured to be isolated. Connie and I are in a relationship. We're here, we live in community, and we have been anything but isolated. We've experienced the exact opposite. We have not felt like victims of the pandemic in any sense at all. In fact, boy, have we felt as beneficiaries of that particular circumstance. People say, surely you're feeling isolated. We're in touch with how many people every week. It's extraordinary through this phenomenon of Zoom. We are now connected. A year ago, we were well connected, but much less connected in this loving, direct, intimate way that we are right here, right now.
Here we are with you.
It's an extraordinary thing. And for me, it just brings up gratitude. Wow, what a phenomenon. Who would have thunk that it would have taken this and the abusive administration that we've had in the outer world as well. And now look what's happening. It seems that there's an emergence of a new vibratory state that's very interesting. And to look at that I just mentioned, the unmentionable, and the fact that to be grateful, to have gratitude for that, challenging, not easy for me. because of the judgmental mind that says such and such is right and such is wrong. And yet somehow all of it is love. All of it is good. These are words that don't have an opposite.
Well, good does. So we don't use good and bad because it is love. And from my point of view, and this attitude thing has to do with assumptions. See, because my assumption, my worldview is that everything, absolutely everything, serves the coming of peace on earth and heaven on earth. Absolutely. When you have that assumption, when you have that attitude, it transforms everything, and it also puts you in another frequency where that's true. Okay? You see what I mean? So it's free will choice where we get to choose our attitude, as in that sentence, we choose our attitude. Okay? So that means we choose our vibratory level and our reality. So whatever's going on in that lower frequency will happen to the people who live there. Whatever they think, it's going to happen. Yeah, okay. So that's free will. I don't care what you think, because that's your free will choice. We're offering this information that we see from our perspective and our understanding and who we are, but it's up to each of us what we choose. So that's the magnificent aspect of it. But that reality, whatever reality, wherever we put our attention, and that's the next A, wherever we put our attention and whatever our attitude is, yeah, that's very true for you. And it will be. And I just choose to keep my focus and my understanding on the fact that it's all love and it's all serving. So our personal experiences are serving our journey to self-love and self-acceptance and alignment with our divinity, and so that we will bring our gift to the party that we promise to bring. Us, all of us, not just the part that we think people are going to like, or they're going to make us successful and we're going to be thought of as smart and okay, we're going to get the job and we're going to climb the ladder and are going to have the stuff and everybody's going to think we're cool. But inside, we wanted to be a poet. We wanted to, our soul, we wanted to be something that wasn't, Daddy didn't think was cool. So we didn't do that thing that Daddy didn't accept, or the culture didn't accept. But guess what? We don't get to do that. So ultimately, our soul will come up against those walls in that labyrinth. We'll come running up against that wall in that labyrinth and keep banging into the walls through our life until we actually align with our divinity and our intuition and our highest inner promptings, as we say in that sentence, because that's the thread through Ariadne's labyrinth. In the Greek myths, you have the golden thread and you go through, you don't even know the labyrinth's there. Ease and grace. But if we're not aligned and we're not listening, we go and bam, 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 bam. We get out maybe at the other end, maybe in a few lifetimes. But hey, let's get the job done now, because the universe is calling us to a higher frequency. Any thoughts, anybody?
Let's expand the conversation. And if there's anyone here who would like to contribute, we'd love that.
I have a question that's come up as you've been speaking, which just this afternoon, I was reading about Johnson & Johnson and their new vaccine, and they have quite a rap sheet of billions of dollars that have been paid in fines and paid out in lawsuits. And I myself have a class action lawsuit for the talcum powder they put out in their baby products, and that they knew caused cancer. And they put it out on the market anyway. And I had cancer at 19. And so I'm really struggling right at this moment because I like the concept. I like what you're saying of, oh, it's the attitude and it's all for good and it's all love. But I'm just in the moment feeling like, what? They're going to let this company that's never made a vaccine before get experimental license to foist some product on the market that they don't know is going to be actually beneficial. And they want the human population to be the guinea pigs. And they plan on using children. And that to me is where it's like, whoa, okay, if adults want to make a choice and go out and be guinea pigs, that's one thing. But to do it on children, it to me, it just feels criminal. And I'm just really struggling with that right now.
So
Any
what
words?
you're saying is, how is that love?
How is that love? Yeah. Now, how can how this attitude I have, like, I'd like to wring their necks. Where do I find them? Where do I throw them in jail? I mean, they all should be put in jail for what they have foisted on them, and not just the American public. They've done it to other countries and found guilty of bribing officials to get past their regulations so that their products aren't safe. And I mean, they have a very checkered background if you looked into it. So
That's interesting. I did not know that to that degree. Thank you. I grew up in South Africa where Johnson's baby powder was a given. Every baby's bottom got powdered, didn't we? Yep.
Well, let's talk about this in general terms. Let's
I know,
not
but
debate this issue. So how is this love, this whole shooting match? Well, from my perspective, it's got to be. Because we're in a lower frequency. You see, we created these systems and these behaviors in a lower frequency. It's a response to a lower, to make money regardless. Doesn't matter if you're giving people cancer. Okay, that's the system we're in, right? That's what's up. It doesn't matter if you destroy the Amazon. It doesn't matter, because money and power and control over others. I mean, it's a whole system that came into being because of erroneous assumptions about the nature of the universe. Okay. And from my perspective, we were in a lower frequency. The earth was in a lower frequency. So we were responding to a lower frequency. So we've been doing this for all of creation. We've been experiencing this and walking through this dark night of behaviors and systems and all that. Everything we've put together is not aligned with universal law. So it's crumbling now. But so we've made these systems, and from my understanding and perspective, we're transmuting fear, separation, and scarcity thinking. Okay, all three of those things led to these systems and led to Johnson & Johnson behaving the way they do. I mean, Johnson & Johnson are people. They're people in those corporations that are making those decisions because they want to keep their job, because they're supporting their family, because they've got to show up for the shareholders. They've got yada, yada, yada. It's a whole system that's out of balance. So the important thing is now, and we're doing this job. We've done this job for the rest of creation. See, I think we were put in these 3D suits with a special job for the rest of creation. So we've done it. We're doing it. We're in process now of seeing and saying no more. We're not going there. Okay. and we're responding to a higher frequency, and we're bringing love, cooperation, kindness, compassion into our systems, because that's the energy now on the planet, and we've done our job. So I would just say this eagle perspective from this bigger picture helps to make some sense. I don't know if that made any sense to you, Oriana, and it doesn't justify anybody's behavior. And whatever you do, as far as your role in this process of transmuting and moving out of it, and it's just important to remember, we create what we think. We create where we put our attention. So are we going to give it power? Are we going to go there and give it power? I don't give it power. I say, hey, it's over. And I put my attention where we're going. That's my job. But others have job to expose it, to work against it. But, you know, Mother Teresa said, hey, when she was invited to an anti-war rally, she said, invite me to a pro-peace rally. I'll be there. So that's the choice we get to make as well. So that's how I would answer it from my perspective at this time. Anybody else have any thoughts?
It's funny. You can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Well, you know, it's funny. What came up was Burning Man, this incredible experiment in the desert where literally it was almost like the God force said, whatever you can imagine through free will, you can have, you can experience. And what was remarkable about Burning Man was that you could, symbolically speaking, everything you could ever imagine, somehow you could find at Burning Man. Including, you know, I remember that Saturday night, you know, raised in the 40s, you know, I was born in 1936, you know, the war and German parents and going to tar and feather my mother. And anyway, Saturday night, the thing was burning in the skies. I lost my tribe. I thought I was in a world war. I just suddenly was in a world war. I kind of let myself go there, and everybody was running around, and it was crazy. And then I had this unbelievable thought, but in this game, everyone comes home alive. In this war, nobody gets killed. In other words, like my children would love to get those spit guns or the water guns. There is something about all the energies, what we would call volatile. Oh, you know, it could be Vesuvius eruptus. I mean, if you look at all of the energies via nature, nature has every extremity of energy there is. What we've done is put stories on it all. And we believe the words over the energies, over the heart of feeling. I think that's really the biggest split. And the fact is, as we can see it as the loving energy behind all of our thought forms that have created these enormous split and dissension. And, you know, this you know, Alexander the Great, you know, it's going to take over the world. It was the game that was perpetrated in every school. You know, you get the A, you get the, you know, or you fail. And I remember looking over my shoulder, trying to sneak an answer, you know, just to not fail. So, you know, it's a setup and a real heavy duty program, but that's what saved me, was looking at the energy dance underneath it all to the extreme, and it's all love. It's all equal to each other.
So beautiful. Wow. I just want to say one thing. Yesterday, I was on a call with an Iroquois elder, an amazing man. And he said, he opened his whole talk with, we know the native, his people know, and I wish I had the quote right here. We know that there has been an energy, there is an energy that is behind everything. And he was
Yeah.
talking pure quantum science, I promise
Yeah.
you, but with
Yeah.
the heart of the innate.
Mm.
He said, the interesting thing he said was, and this energy wants to know itself better.
Yeah.
I think that's how he put it. but
Yeah.
that's-
Yeah. I've heard this. Yes.
Okay,
This
and
is,
this
I
came
feel
from
this.
this Iroquois guy. And so brilliant, because I want to tell you, I asked the universe, I said, if there's a plan, is there a planner? And the universe said to me, no, it is the consciousness of unconditional love coming to understand itself.
Mm-mm.
So Oriana, this is supports this big picture look at it all that I just expressed in my way, and hopefully it'll trigger something because of your brilliance and your knowing that you could bring to that big discussion.
Mm.
So to
at
bring,
your at your leisure.
may I bring it all back around to the subject, the key word for this conversation,
Yeah, and
which is
we're running out of time, so go,
Do you
guy.
mind?
No, but go.
attitude. Attitude. And if we can put gratitude in that attitude on any subject whatsoever. Oriana, you went through cancer. There was a book, it was a woman in Woodstock, New York, who wrote a book that said, the title was, Thank God I Have Cancer, because that experience made her so grateful for every breath, for every moment of her life. I never did find out whether she came through it. I was doing a study on cancer and some possible cures at the time, and I encountered this book. And that was just a boggle for me. Can somebody actually be grateful for cancer?
Mhm.
Whoa. But we never know what our next teacher is going to be. It might be something as terrifying as cancer. And so again, I think it's about attitude of summoning up that trust in the fact that whatever happens to us actually happens for us, does not happen to us, because if it happens to us, we are then by definition a victim. If it happens for us, we're by definition beloved. We're the beneficiaries of something. So I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, so what a wonderful conversation. And the men are going to be coming in very soon. Where
Well,
are those
it's
boys?
12 minets to, no, it's
Oh,
12 minutes
oh,
to,
we still got 12
we
minutes.
got
I'm
12 minutes. We
misreading
can
the
dance, we can
clock.
sing, we can.
Okay, sorry. Sorry, I misreading it. Maybe time is escaping me. I hope so. I would love it as we move beyond time and move
What
into
about
this.
our other friend here? Would she like to?
Well, we've
say a word?
invited her to speak if
You're
if
very
people
welcome
don't
if you
want to
like. Yeah,
speak.
of course. No,
So
just
Bridget, you're welcome to speak if you so desire, and otherwise we'll carry on. But so Oriana, any thoughts on your cancer? Did that serve you in any way? You feel?
Well, it's interesting in that I can remember being very, very quiet about having cancer. And I had ovarian cancer. And back then, 50 years ago, people were not surviving cancer. There weren't support groups. There weren't any such thing. Now people almost wear it like a badge. Oh, I'm a cancer survivor. And I can remember 25 years after I had cancer, my mother, who had cancer, ovarian cancer, which she died of within 6 months. And I remember being with her somewhere and running into someone she knew, and she told them she had cancer. And I was mortified, like, oh, you told someone? And I'm not even sure where I got that attitude, that it was something that I just didn't want people to know. When I went back to school, they said, "Why did you have a medical withdrawal?" And I said, "Well, I was sick for a while," and I wouldn't tell them. And it was this peculiar thing, like I'd never
Mhm.
thought of it as something that you would triumph over. It was more, I was almost felt more like damaged merchandise. That's kind of, oh, there's something wrong
Mhm.
with me that at 19, you're not supposed to have a terminal illness. You're not supposed to do those kind of things. And so I think my whole attitude about it was so different. Um, so I'm not sure I can look at it as a gift. I do know though that because that cancer resulted in a complete hysterectomy, that there came a moment that I had to learn to that I was going to live, and I was quite sure I was going to live, but I wasn't sure I wanted to live. There was that part of me that was like just always at the moment of giving up. And there also came a moment when I had to decide that my life was to be about something new, and that I had to learn what it was to be a woman on a whole new level. And so that's led me to my whole inner research and exploration and degree in biochemistry of how is that whole coming into an embryonic form, how is it to actually make a heartbeat for generations, and what is it that we bring forth as woman on a whole new level? What is that which we call goddess that can be expressed in a way that isn't bringing life forth in a typical way a woman would, but life in the way that a goddess would? How would a goddess bring life into this world, and life in a quantum leap, like more an expression of what you are speaking to, Connie, that idea of how do we make this shift, and what if we show up in this world for just that purpose? That there is something that fulfilling this sense of real, what is that sense of woman that longs to bear life into the world. And if that isn't possible on a physical level, then what is that continues to be there unexpressed and needing an expression in some way that is that makes life purposeful, for lack of a better word. And maybe that's what I'm getting in touch with, as in that meditation with Andrew that was so beautiful, is what is it that is exciting to get up and lead your day and say, yeah, I can do this. I can bring forth this new life called Earth being born, a new world. And maybe that's why I'm here. So.
Well, what a beautiful
Thank
expression
you.
of your soul's
Mm,
journey. Every expression, every choice, every realization, coming through that, am I okay?
Mm-hmm.
You took that on, and then it drove you, because so many women choose not to have children. So the giving of human life is one aspect of being a woman, and your journey to all this beautiful expression and exploration and gift to those of us. I mean, you saw Bridget, really responding to your journey and your expression and your quest and what you found and what you're bringing. So that's your gift,
Mm.
to touch that heart of the male, of the female, in this unique expression that is you, that you just
And-
gave voice to.
Mm.
And can we say the empathy, the compassion, the understanding of having been there has been so extraordinary to know the far end of both spectrums, and now have real choice of creating it. So I do feel that there is a blessing, that incredible blessing for it all. You know, the whole the whole play of our lives. It was so unique and so wondrous as it is.
Here they come.
Here come
Come
boys.
those guys. So we'll jump off now. Thank you,
Thank you.
Bridget, for joining us. I
Thank
hope
you,
it's been rich
Oriana.
for you.
Mm.
And thank you, Oriana. It's always great to have you here. We have kind of a trio, a trialogue going now regularly. It's so great. So we're so welcome
And wowza,
to
bless you.
have you.
Thank you.
Thank you, anybody who's joined us on Facebook Live. And we're going to go off Facebook Live now. And